Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. There they are. Everybody in Today All Day land. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday, and we are so glad you tuned in. It's Today in 30 time.
It is. Here we go. And it's our special blend of everything you love across all 4 hours of our show, and we break it down to a single half hour.
Yes. First up, new concerns in America's recovery from the pandemic. The nation is going to miss that July 4th vaccination goal set by the White House. And now this Delta variant is spreading fast. We've got everything you need to know about that.
Then a deeper look at why a record number of Americans are quitting their jobs and that some companies are getting creative to try to bring them back to their desks.
And then the one, the only, John Cena tells us about joining the Fast and Furious family for the franchise's 9th installment.
Plus, Al's going to introduce us to the newest faces on Sesame Street. Super cool. They've got a great message for kids.
Let's get started. Time for Today in 30.
Yeah, good morning. So right now we have 150 million Americans who have received at least one shot. So that's 45% of the population is now fully vaccinated, I should say. And the bottom line here is as we head into the 4th of July weekend, now just a little more than 10 days away, great concern about that new variant and how that may undermine efforts going into the summer and even how that impacts the schools starting up in the fall.
This morning, the White House is acknowledging a setback, expecting now to fall short of President Biden's goal of vaccinating 70% of adults with at least one shot by July 4th. 18 to 26-year-olds particularly lagging behind.
The reality is many younger Americans have felt like COVID-19 is not something that impacts them, and they've been less eager to get the shot.
Vaccination efforts are now shifting from high-volume centers to local outreach and giveaways to reach hesitant young adults.
I don't feel like the vaccine is necessary to me.
And also it's not fully FDA approved, so I feel like once we have more information, I think I'll be more open to get it as well.
Nationwide, the number of new shots into arms has been trending down recently. So far, nearly 2/3 of American adults have received at least one dose. 20 states and D.C. are beating that national rate. But West Virginia, which once led in vaccinations, is now falling to the back of the pack. And 4 states, Mississippi, Louisiana, Wyoming, and Alabama, have yet to hit 50% vaccination rates. Those unvaccinated Americans particularly vulnerable to the highly contagious Delta variant, which now accounts for 20% of all new cases, doubling in just 1 week.
The Delta variant is currently the greatest threat in the U.S. to our attempt to eliminate COVID-19.
With children under 12 still not eligible for the vaccine, there's growing concern that more kids will catch and spread the mutated virus as states continue to drop COVID restrictions.
I think the reality is that kids are becoming more likely to be vectors of these new variants.
While it's too soon to tell if the Delta variant will be worse for children than other versions of the virus, some parents now worry schools will not be taking the extra precautions in the fall.
I see everything reopening and a lot of people sort of acting like it's over. And I keep remembering that my kid is under the age of 12 and therefore not yet vaccinated. So for him, it's not over yet.
Yeah, importantly here, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, and Pfizer are all running clinical trials to see how well kids under the age of 12 tolerate the vaccine, but that'll take a few more months before those vaccines are available for that age group. Guys, back to you.
We're back on our Reopening America series. We're taking a closer look at why millions of workers are calling it quits.
Yeah, stunning new government data shows that a record number of Americans are voluntarily quitting their jobs, leaving many workplaces seriously understaffed.
And as NBC's Sam Brock found out, it is forcing some businesses to get creative when it comes to hanging on to employees. Hey, Sam, good morning.
Hoda, Savannah, Tom, good morning. They are calling this the Great Resignation, a massive exit of workers from all kinds of industries, from coffee shops to clothing stores, as more generous unemployment benefits, plus the pandemic, fundamentally changing how people view their jobs, is prompting some workers to reassess their options.
This morning, help wanted is becoming an urgent plea almost everywhere. A growing number of workers are seeking better hours, higher pay, and safer environments, with some hourly wages barely breaking double digits.
$10 or $11 is a joke.
Kevin Tamayo is a 26-year-old restaurant server in a new job for 6 months. He makes just enough to get by, but not enough to afford a car, and says the pandemic changed his perspective.
Being inside all day can also, take a toll on you, but it kind of opened my eyes to the fact that I was being severely exploited, and, you know, I was definitely underappreciated.
The latest data shows nearly 4 million Americans abandoned their jobs in April. That's the most since the government started tracking the stat 20 years ago. Industry suffering some of the highest losses: leisure and hospitality with more than 740,000 workers, accommodation and food services with more than 680,000, and retail with nearly 650,000. It's likely a combination of factors driving folks to quit, but near the top of the list, a competitive hiring market and fatigue.
Our employees were telling us they're burnt out. They can't keep working 6-7 days a week. We sat down with them and said, what can we do more?
Part of the solution at Sergio's here in Miami, robots, not meant to replace the wait staff, but minimize their exhausting grind. Owner Carlos Gazatua is also offering full benefits, including 401ks, though hiring is still a challenge.
We increased rates in pay. We have 401ks. We have health care plans, but yet people were just not applying to the point where volume started to pick up, but we still had the same labor force.
Big retailers like Amazon, Costco, and Target are trying to lure workers with $15 wages to start. Office workers get some perks too. The popular dating app Bumble closing its offices this entire week to give its staff a break. While the crowdfunding platform Kickstarter says it's gearing up to test a 4-day work week sometime next year.
So I don't see it as a binary, you know, you can either have productivity or you can have wellness. The concept is, how do you set those things in motion with each other in a way that actually brings more value in all parts of your life?
Do you feel like workers at Kickstarter are burned out right now?
You know, I think that everybody around the world, doesn't matter how you're working, where you're working, whether that's, you know, at home, whether that's in an office, are feeling it.
All right, welcome back. The Fast and the Furious franchise is getting even faster and more furious because John Cena, he's joined the fold for F9.
He's furiouser. And if you think the action was out of this world in the first 8 movies, well, wait till you see this one. John, good morning.
Morning, John.
Out of this world, fantastic choice.
Yes.
Hoda, I must say, that was an awesome piece on the Groove to Me charity. And there was a quote in there that spoke to me. I just care that the girls feel good about themselves so they make good choices. I thought that was an excellent piece, so thank you very much.
It was.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I love it. She says, I don't care if they become dancers. I just want them to be good choices in their lives. All right, well, John, you've made a choice to be in Fast and Furious 9. How was that first segue? And apparently, I heard this story that you kind of found out in an unusual way. Can you tell us?
Yeah, so I was in LA on business, and I was contacted that Vin Diesel would like to talk to me. And of course, I wanted to go have a conversation with Dom Toretto, and I kind of went to his training center, which is like the Dom Shrine, and so you can see the old Chargers in the back. And we had a long conversation, and at the end, he shoots this social video. And at the end, he kind of puts the camera on me, and I'm like a deer in headlights because I don't know what's going on. So I just really don't even know. Because nothing was ever explained of like, hey, we're considering you for Fast. We just talked for a few hours about everything, and I left being like, wow, I just hung out with Vin Diesel. That was pretty cool. And then later on, I got the invite to join the Fast family, and I later found out that I would be a Toretto.
That is so cool. First, you play a bad guy, and that shocked me because I don't see you in that bad guy role. So how was that?
That's the fun of performing, to be able to harness different sides of you and be able to showcase a different skill set. And this is what a stage. The Fast and Furious mythology is so grand and reaches so many people. It just really was just a special thing to be a part of.
Now, are you a good driver?
So that's a question that's like a psychological profile question.
Yeah.
I would say
That's what I'm getting at.
Better than anybody else. I tend to drive fast and not too furious.
Okay.
Oh, you're a fast, careful driver.
Fast and Zen, though, doesn't have the same ring.
So wait, John, these guys have been together forever. You're the newbie. You came in. I'm sure there was some kind of initiation. Like, what did they do to you when you joined the team?
So, no initiation, but it really is like bringing someone to a family dinner. Like, everybody's eyeing you up, and everyone is, like, questioning your intentions, which I actually like. And to put it into perspective, you know, people have given 20 years of their lives to this legacy, and they really just want to do it justice and make sure fans around the world are entertained. And when everybody goes to CF9 in theaters on Friday, they want to make sure it delivers. And I really like the fact that everyone kind of was standoffish at first and kind of made sure I was my intentions were pure.
This is not some small indie production. It's huge. You know, there have been 8 other of these films. This is going to be opening in the theaters. Have you been surprised at just like how big a franchise this is?
This is simply the largest thing I've ever been a part of. And yesterday, Fast, the saga, celebrated its 20th anniversary. Wow. So they've been making these movies for 2 decades, and it's only fitting that, you know, this close to the 20th anniversary is the newest installment in theaters on Friday. And I really think, given the circumstances of the world, and now we're all eager to be entertained with cinema again, obviously safely. But I couldn't think of a better film than F9 to bring audiences back to that Hollywood blockbuster feel that they've been craving for so long.
Well, you know, I was wondering, every time I see you, I always, people associate you usually with the WWE, and I just wondered if on some days you just miss it. Do you ever think to yourself, boy, you know, I wish I could get back in the ring?
I sit every day, just like I miss sitting with you guys, talking about the news and having great conversation. I really miss it. There's nothing like it. I will be back. I'm not sure when I'll be back because I'm really fortunate to have some great opportunities now that I'd like to pursue. But, yeah, I miss it every single day, and I can't wait to put on some jean shorts and take my shirt off.
And we know how you like to do.
Yes, exactly. John, thank you. Maybe for Fast and Furious 10, you could do that, too. It's from our sister company, Universal Pictures, and it opens in theaters, and only in theaters, I believe, on Friday.
Cool.
Go to the theater and see F9 on Friday.
Cool. You got it. Thank you, John.
For generations, Sesame Street has taught kids so many important lessons, and now they're tackling a new one.
And they always do it in such a good way. So the importance of celebrating differences and teaching our youngsters about race and racism.
That's right. Well, this time they're doing it through the eyes of 2 new friends who I got the chance to meet.
Hi, my name is Wes.
Hey, everybody. I'm Elijah Walker.
Hi, Elmo's name is Elmo.
There are 2 new neighbors in the neighborhood. It is so great to meet you, Wes and Elijah. And Elmo, it's good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Mr. Roker.
While Sesame has always celebrated differences and diversity, a father and son tackle a tough issue, race. Why was it important to address race and differences now?
After what happened last summer, we knew that we needed to be more explicit about talking about race because children and families needed it.
With Sesame's Coming Together initiative, creating the ABCs of racial literacy, seeing the issue as Sesame always does through the eyes of a young child. 5-year-old Wes and his meteorologist dad Elijah's experiences, but starting with the basics.
Elmo wants to know why Wes's skin is brown.
Oh, I know why, Elmo. My mom and dad told me. It's because of melanin. Right, Dad?
That's right.
Melanin? What's that?
Well, melanin is something that we each have inside our bodies that make the outside of our bodies the skin color that it is. It also gives us our eye and our hair color.
Experts say children begin to notice the differences in race in infancy and start forming their own sense of identity at a very young age. So Sesame decided to tackle race and racism head on. One of the great things about Sesame Street is that people accept people for who they are. But Wes, there have been times where people have done things or said things that didn't make you feel good.
There was one time at my old school when I wanted to be the pretend guitarist, but they said that I couldn't be the pretend guitarist because of the way that I look, because people who look like me should be rappers because they rap the best. And that wasn't very nice. It made me feel really bad. But then I talked to my dad, and he told me that I could be whatever I wanted to be.
A study commissioned by Sesame Workshop of parents with kids ages 6 to 11 reported that 42% had personally experienced discrimination. Nearly 2/3 of those with black children reporting racist incidents. So to help, Sesame created videos like Breathe, Feel, Share to help kids have open conversations about race and racism.
Breathe. To calm down. Feel. Notice how I'm feeling and say it. And then share. Tell a grown-up what happened.
For the grown-ups watching, a guide to help with those tough conversations. Elijah, I've had to have difficult talks with my kids, but it's particularly tough when you've got to talk to a 4 or 5-year-old. about race. How difficult is that?
Yeah, we talk about being proud of things. We talk about things that make us unique, and we talk about some of the difficulties that can come.
Were you surprised that after all this time, you still have to have those conversations?
I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed sometimes. But things do seem like they're getting better, but we want to make sure that we equip our kids with the tools that they need to talk about and to exist in this world.
Teaching these lessons through Sesame characters allows for a directness, a lack of nuance that young kids are looking for.
It was important for us to make sure that people understood not only what was right, which is what we were modeling, but also what was wrong. And so this initiative is trying to really represent that for children and to use language that families and children feel comfortable with.
And since Elijah and I share a fondness for forecasts,
the weather report seems somewhat similar across the country. Ernie's Grove, Washington, 88 degrees.
A perfect weather to float your rubber ducky.
That's right. Grover Beach, California, 88 degrees.
And that's just super.
Bird City, Kansas, 88 degrees.
Oh, man, I'd like to get out to the park and feed the pigeons.
88 degrees in Oscar, Minnesota.
Well, hopefully it'll get some rain. I know Oscar would love that.
Had a great time talking with Elijah and Wes from Sesame Street. They were so special, really nice, and got to see our old buddy Elmo. So always good to see Elmo. Who doesn't love them some Elmo? Dylan and Chanel love Elmo, don't they? Oh, they're completely ignoring me. This is just the way it is here on our street.
Hey guys, I had the privilege of sitting down with Bobbie Thomas to interview her after the passing of her husband, Michael, and I had not seen Bobbie until that moment. And you know, sometimes you wonder, like, if you should reach out to a friend, and if you should call, and Bobbie gave the answer, and that is every single time. If you have the urge to speak to someone, reach out. Because what we don't realize is a lot of times people are sitting by themselves. And Bobbie and I have had the opportunity to speak over this time period. But she gave great advice. If you have a friend in despair, pick up the phone right away. Don't think maybe they don't need me, maybe they don't want me. Anyway, it's a wrap around here. We love Bobbie Thomas.
As we say around here often, we are a family. We celebrate each other's happiness and we mourn each other's losses.
Yeah, we sure do. And throughout the 15 years that she's been with our show, there's been a lot to celebrate for our dear friend and today's style editor, Bobbie Thomas. But over the last 6 months, we've mourned with her since the untimely passing of her beloved husband, Michael Marion. Before they were married, Michael was diagnosed with an immune deficiency. And while Bobbie realized Michael may not live to 90, she never imagined that he'd pass away at just 44 years old. I sat down with Bobbie and she shared her journey, and it's one of loss and grief, but also of resilience and gratitude.
I wake up trying to find some t-shirts that still smell like Michael. Which ones weren't washed, you know? I've never been more in love with him.
Really?
More in love now.
Their love story began in 2008 when Bobbie first met Michael. She was fiercely independent.
The idea of marriage had scared me so much. I mean, even when he proposed to me, I mean, he would be screaming right now. I said, yes, but can I have 30 days? And I remember thinking, is he gonna like take it back? But instead he said, okay. And then 2 days later he woke up and he was like, 28 more days to go. And that was him. He just was so positive and optimistic. He carried that through the hardest challenges that no one should have to go through.
The kind of challenges traditional wedding vows include for better or for worse.
With this ring, I thee wed.
Shortly after their fairy tale wedding in 2013, Bobbie and Michael publicly shared their very personal journey to parenthood.
It takes a village to raise children, but to make them too.
We celebrated alongside them when they revealed they were expecting.
Can we say that again? Bobbie is pregnant.
She is pregnant.
Thank God. Yes. Thank God.
And when they welcomed little Miles into the world. But 4 years later, in 2019, hardship would follow. I remember how jarring it was for us to learn that Michael, when he was just 40 years old, he's on a business trip and suddenly he collapses. And you later learn that he had a stroke.
my heart dropped out. I mean, you become one person, and it felt so unfair.
Doctors told Bobbie a full recovery was uncertain, but even in the face of adversity, Michael never lost his determination.
That's it. That's better.
Michael recovered, and it's so important that we focus on recovery. He went from not walking, not talking, to learning to talk again, getting out of his wheelchair, and actually walking. And it was unbelievable. I mean, it was really unbelievable to even the doctors that he continued to overcome and was about to return to work.
But in the fall of 2020, unrelated to the stroke, Michael developed a bacterial infection.
It was 5 weeks in the ICU, and it was just one thing after the other, like a domino effect. So when things just increasingly became problematic, it seemed as if we were up against the impossible. It was multiple organ failure. And besides the very worst memory of my whole life of seeing his last was having to look at his parents and his mom. I will never, ever be able to love anyone more deeply, and I will do anything for them and his family and his sister. But his parents are the strongest, and in the face of losing their son, they were there trying to console me.
Now, Bobbie is trying to console others and help them navigate the very same path she's still figuring out herself.
It's important to say out loud for myself and for others that you have to give yourself the grace to not try and fix it, the pain. Because so often we are in a position where, pain is uncomfortable. The pain is so precious to me. It's my connection to him. And it's like, I don't want the hurt to go away because it gets further away. And that sounds crazy to say out loud, but I'm starting to embrace that. And if I can do anything to tell other people who are going through this, because I know how alone I feel and I have so much support, it's to not feel like the problem.
The pain that you're feeling, that you're going through, the loss is fresh. It was December.
See, and in my mind, I have this clock ticking, and I think, oh my gosh, it's 6 months. You should be better. You should be fixed. And I really appreciate as humans that we want to do that, but it is really hard to learn how to carry something.
What struck me is not only are people trying to fix your pain, your son's trying to fix your pain. He's trying to heal you.
That's the most painful because I'm his mom. And he is at 5 looking for solutions. One night at bedtime, he asked me, who invented it and why? And I thought he was going to ask me about a truck or something. Yeah. And he said, this life. I was stunned. Yeah. And he's like, I just don't understand why we all can't be angels. And he was still trying to figure out how we could all be together.
These days, Bobbie is holding on to Miles even tighter, focusing not on what she's lost, but on the gifts Michael has given her.
Oh my gosh!
For as long as I've known you, you've spoken about gratitude. Can you still find gratitude?
It's my compass. Like, a lot of people want to say, oh, but it was so hard. He was so sick. And the thing that I don't know how to communicate really in that moment usually is it was such a tragic gift in a way because you did not have time to be bored or worry about what you didn't have. When Michael and I were going through some of the hardest times, it was so simple. It was really basic, and sometimes that simplicity was magic. You woke up, you worried about what mattered, and you were so grateful for what you had. We were together, and we had hope. And it's something that will never leave.
Another big show tomorrow. Big show. Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman. Both here. 2 for the price of 1.
All right, we're going to see you tomorrow, Thursday.
Have a good one.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.